Put hydrogen in two. Hey, y'all. I got some random raps that popped in my head. Anyway, hood politics as we, come into the let's circle back after the New Year's era. Kind of wanted to round out the year with another one of the Cityscapes, Hellscapes episodes. It's going to be a two-parter. One, because it went long, we just gushed. And then second, because that stretches out till the end of the year. Homegirl Bridget Todd and we gush about the city that my mama and her mama after that is from. Washington, DC. Chocolate City. Southeast. Listen, DC will always hold a special place in my heart, like I said, because you'll hear me gush about it with Bridget very soon. Because it's kind of like a hometown I never lived in, My grandmama stay. So many roots there, so many memories there. Anyway, but it's a hellhole, apparently, according to my current president. All right, this is part one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hood politics. We are here holding down the, let's say 50 to 75% of the diversity at Cool Zone, right? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take those numbers.
Yeah. It's somewhere around there. Obviously including the trans community into the diversity hires, would leave it at about roughly 50 to 75. This is me and Bridget Todd. Everybody say what's up to the homie Bridget.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. So glad to be here. This is the continuation of the Hellscapes series coming into the holidays. And I think both of us have been I don't know how much heavy lifting research we trying to do now. So I'm just trying to what can we do that really don't take a lot of work? You feel me? And but I say that to also say in this series, we're speaking from the heart, about places that we love that apparently our president would like to cast as hellscapes. So we're going to talk about today the hellscape that is the district, Washington, DC, Prince George County, and all the surrounding areas.
Yes,
Bridget,
I'm glad that you said it that way because people sometimes talk about the district, but it's really the whole DMV, the district, is. Maryland, Northern Virginia, depending on where you're at. Absolutely.
Now, I've said this many times on our show, but bringing this to this moment, it's weird to be, for me, from a city you're not from, right? So I say that because my mama is from the district. By the time I was around, she was you see that area, when you fly into Ronald Reagan, she's you see that area right there? She was that was our beach. It was because it was the black neighborhood and we all got kicked out because they were building an airport there. So she was there is no parts of DC that we haven't driven around that she was oh, I used to walk. That was where my brother's barbershop was. That was, you know what I'm saying? And by the time I was around, they were in Northwest. My mother is one of 9. My grandmother is one of 20. This is all on my mom's side. So I spent every other summer in DC.
Wow.
So for me, there was a song on one of my records called Southeast DC because we were driving down, was it Carolina, East Capitol? Something like that. One of the streets that goes into Upper Marlboro, across from Six Flags. So the street that goes right into there, we drove by this community garden and it was called the East Capitol Community Garden. And she goes, those were our projects. I was like, wow. What? She goes, yeah, I used to live in the East Capitol Heights, East Capitol projects. It was on this corner. and just the building wasn't there. I've never seen it. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But like this feeling of like, did I just lose some of my history? Like, I've never seen it, but I felt this love and this loss and this for a city, like I said, for a city that I am not from, you know what I mean? But DC and the DMV has always meant a lot to me. So I feel like I could gush, but I don't live there. You know what I'm saying? I could gush forever. So now, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said, you know, did I just lose something that I didn't even really know I had? Yeah. That is the experience of being a DC resident, right? I've lived here for most of my adult life.
Yeah.
You know, I also had, you know, like generations of ties to the area. And I think there is something specific that happens in a city that is known for being kind of a transient city where not just the people, but the land beneath your feet can change so quickly and so deeply. And, you know, I look back at old pictures, even pictures that I took 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and think, where was this? What is this now? You know? And I think it's one of the things that makes DC special, but also sort of heartbreaking, is that you don't really know that you're experiencing things that are going to become memories. And memories in this like very weird way of, did I ever even really have that? Because it's a city that changes so quickly.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, man. I remember, you know, once, at least the generation of cousins that I was in, I'm like at the tail end of all of my cousins, but like, once we can now start driving, you know what I mean? So, you know, he finally took me to a go-go. Now I actually understand go. I didn't get it at first. They used to bring tapes back, and I was like, what is this? Like, this horribly recorded, like, cover songs. I don't understand it. But anyway, we were driving, and I just remember being like, I don't understand how you learn how to drive here. These corners, there's no corners. It's like, it's 5 lights. They're straight. I was like, how do you know? How do I stay on the street I'm on? Like,
even just driving straight is a challenge.
I was like, how are you doing this? Like, I was like, this makes no sense. My Aunt Stephanie, I never forget it. Aunt Stephanie from the backseat goes, well, you know, this was designed by a black man. It was designed by Benjamin Banneker, and it was because these were horse routes.
Yep.
And I was like, wait. It just, my soul kind of like sunk in me, because I was like, y'all all know this. And they were like, yeah, we all know this. And I'm like, are you serious? The Capitol was designed by, like, you know, just that. And then now the streets are starting to like straighten out, and you know,
a little bit, but they're still cattywampus as fuck to drive through. Fun fact: my local community pool, or the rec center, or the pool is that I go to every summer, is the Banneker Community Center. So,
serious? Okay.
Yes. I mean, you really put it well. DC, to live in DC and to love DC is to also hate it a little bit, because driving here is such a pain. I actually don't drive a ton, and it's one of the perks of living in a city like DC is it's very walkable, bikeable. But the rare times that particularly if I'm driving, I've done that East Capitol Drive, particularly if I'm driving out of the city into nearby Maryland or Virginia, just get ready for screams and swearing.
Yeah, buddy. That's, you know. Yeah,
something that brings the city together is...
It really does, man. Yeah, like it's not walkable until you get into the city. You know, like I remember we used to live, my grandmother's sister, my, you know, great aunt. She was the one I spent most of the time with, mainly because apparently that aunt, my mom was that aunt's favorite. So she took care of me and my sister mostly, you know, but Anyway, she lived off South Dakota Ave and Bladensburg Road. So she lived over there in the Fort Lincoln area. And I remember we were like, just Southeast Bama cousin,
Yes.
Benji was like, "You want some checkers?" I was like, "What? You want some checkers?" I was like, "What are you saying?" I didn't understand him. He was like, let's go get some checkers, So I didn't know that was a burger joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think that Checkers is still there.
It's still there. Yeah. So we walked, but I was like, this is the most dangerous. Like, this is such a dangerous walk because you're not in the city yet.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
It was so scary, but it was so fun, man. And there was a community pool up on the hill that Mr. Woods, who apparently was who ran the rec center when my mother was a child. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, anyway, but like that trying to navigate was just, it's still a core memory of mine. Like, I don't know how I don't know how y'all know where you are.
Yeah, poor Prop, like running across like essentially a highway.
Yeah, it's a highway. Yes. I love that you know that. It's a highway.
Yeah. And it's so the kind of thing that your older cousins that you kind of want to impress would kind of talk you into doing, and you're like, oh God, am I going to die?
That's exactly what happened. That is exactly, we were left, because it's the summertime and everybody's working. Like all of our aunts and uncles, our parents, they're working. Mm-hmm. And Granny not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're in the basement and the basement is sweaty because it's hot. My Uncle Alan lived in the basement. So he was like, y'all can't play. And Uncle Alan wasn't the safest dude to be around anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, y'all need to go do something. So want to go Checkers? You know what I'm saying? And we just walked across the highway. Anyway, so tell me, I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm like, okay, so the three things I need is the fondest memory that is like, this only happens here.
Oh my God.
I know there's a lot of those. The like most frustrating thing to where you're like, this only happens here. And then where we getting them crabs at? Like, where are you going to get that bushel?
Wow. Okay. It makes me kind of sad to say this. The thing that is, I have the answer that I have kind of in the chamber, as much as I love DC, is the frustration part.
Yeah.
I could tell you exactly what that is, which is the way that I think DC is often ignored in the larger kind of conversation nationally. I think that people are so used to think, and they're not wrong, but they're very used to think about DC as, this seat of federal power where the president lives, where lawmakers are, where federal stuff happens. And again, that's totally correct. But people completely forget the fact that there are over 500,000 people who live here in the district, who many of whom have no connection to the federal government. There's people who live here and are living their lives here. And I hate that when we talk about DC, that conversation gets missed. I've had people say like, oh, well, nobody really lives in the district. And I'm saying, oh, that's not true. I do.
Yeah,
or they say, well, people weren't meant to live there. They shouldn't be living there. I one time was with a friend, I think we were someplace in the Midwest, and we were trying to get into a nightclub or a bar, and we had to show our ID. Mm-hmm. And when we showed our district IDs, the bouncer was like, what is this ID? Where is this ID from? And we were like, oh, the District of Columbia. And he was like, what is that? And we were like, it's
Washington,
not a state.
DC.
Yeah, but it's a place. But it is, you get a little tongue-tied because it's not a state. So, it is a little bit complicated to describe, but I really had to sit in my feelings a little bit in that frustration when over the summer Trump was, deploying federal agents and the National Guard. I have been talking about and screaming about DC and the need for statehood and autonomy and respect for DC's residents for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
But when that happened, I really kind of felt the deep, long, simmering frustrations of the way that I think that something about DC, it just is easy to overlook that there are people here that these things impact. And so, when that initiative started in DC and then quickly expanded to other cities, I'm happy that people talked about the ways it was showing up in places like Chicago, as they should. But I guess I feel, and Portland, but there's something about DC that I think makes it easy for people who don't live nearby to just overlook it. And I would come on Cool Zone shows and say, you know, the reason why Trump was able to start this in the district and why he started here, it's not a coincidence. It's because DC is not a state, and that makes DC vulnerable in all these different ways. And I just wish that that were a conversation that more people understood. And I get it. I mean, it is like a complicated, wonky thing of why DC is not a state and what that means. But it makes me so frustrated. And what's interesting is that when I see certain DC celebrities, like the rapper Wale. So he'll often, like, people clown him, but everything that he says, I'm like, I get it. He's right. Like, you know, and I see it mirrored in our celebrities who are from DC, where they seem like they have a chip on their shoulder, but they do, and they're right. They're not wrong.
Wale was on, I was just about to bring him up as the exact example of, like, no, there's a culture here.
Yes.
You know, and there's a scene here. And honestly, as somebody who lives on the opposite coast, it, like, to your point and my shame, I wouldn't have known if my mother wasn't from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would think the same thing, because even growing up, it still kind of didn't make sense to me of, like, but my mom's from this state that's not a state, and you blink and you're in Maryland. Like, so, like, I didn't get that either, because we would go from, you know, I have an aunt in Capitol Heights. But it's 7 minutes from my grandma's house. And I'm like, wait, we left DC? You know what I'm saying? Like, just, it was so fast. And, like, I honestly couldn't get my brain around. They were like, okay, but we're going to go down and visit your Aunt Bernice. And I'm like, she's only 15 minutes away. She's like, no, but that's Virginia. And I'm like, when did we get to on the other side of the airport's Virginia? Like, I could not, and especially a state as large as California, like that, I didn't, but all that to say, from a political standpoint, I only understand because my mom's from there. From a cultural standpoint, I also only understand because my mom's from there. You know what I'm saying? For me, just being just a crate digger, I think about, there was this group that, it was called Question Mark Asylum. They had one album, you know, but just me being a backpacker rapper, I remember when that tape got to this record store called Fat Beats, and I remember they mentioned DC, and I lost it because he had a song. There was a song on there that samples Chuck Berry on it. You know what I mean? So I only know Chuck Berry and the Backyard Boys and all that. Like, I only know that because my cousins would bring the tapes back here. But for me, it was like, none of that made sense. None of it until I saw it. Until we were older. I was 16. I never forget. I was 16 years old. Another cousin. By the time, you know, I'm battle rapper, whatever, right? So it was like, okay, you old enough to get in now. Like, we're gonna get you in. So we went down to U Street. You know what I'm saying? And he took me into a little spot, and he was like, "This is an open mic." And I'm like, okay, there's 18 drummers. Like, I've never seen there are 18 dudes on drums right now, and some of those drums are buckets. And I don't know how you're rapping over this. Like, so it was like an open mic, but it was like either way, I was like, I get it now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and for me, it was like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Another one of my favorite rappers is Odyssey. Odyssey is from the district. You know what I mean? Like, so it was a thing that, bringing it back home, I still couldn't explain. You know? Like, I still couldn't, until A-Marie and this one thing has got me tripping till that.
The go-go sound, yes.
Yeah. And Crazy in Love. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce's Crazy in Love, where I was like, that's go-go. Like, I was trying to, like, no, that's it. Like, that's you know, and you can connect the dots to be like, there's a culture there. And again, growing up where I grew up, my mom grew up, that was Wakanda. That was a black world. I didn't grow up in the same thing happened in Memphis. I was like, I didn't grow up in a black world. I grew up in a black and Latino world. But the black, out there, I didn't grow up in Chocolate City, and I think that like I became an adult when I finally appreciated like there's a culture here,
That is such a beautiful and special thing. It's funny that you say this. I, for a time, lived in Northern California. And, I went to Northern California very briefly. And at the time, DC was like my home, right?
Yeah.
And when I got there, I was so deeply homesick for DC. And I remember telling my coworkers about go-go music. And I was trying to describe it. And I said, oh, it's percussion heavy.
Yeah.
If you've heard, Chuck Brown's Busted Loose, and they were like, is it reggae? Like the way that I was like, I can't really explain it, but you have to hear it.
Chuck Brown. I called him Chuck Berry this whole time. Yeah, Chuck Brown.
Oh,
my fault.
Well, we have a street named after him. He's like, but the thing I love so much about the music, you mentioned the covers. There is probably my favorite go-go song is the iconic group The Rare Essence. Okay. Their cover of Ashlee Simpson's Pieces of Me.
No.
If you've not heard the go-go, like the go-go version of that, I know you're thinking Ashlee Simpson.
No.
What? But the go-go version of that is like a DC anthem. And I truly believe if Ashlee Simpson came to DC, she would get like a hero's welcome because it's such a big song here. But that's what I mean. I think that DC has its own special sound and not every city has their own form of musical expression. True. That is also, it's not just a type of music. It's also an activity, going to the go-go. That is part of our city. And I am grateful that it's something that you have connected with because I think that outside of the Mid-Atlantic region, it's not like people don't know it. And there are a handful of songs that sort of like use the sound and get popular, but it's ours. It's like a special little thing that it's just, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And the times that I have gone to in-person go-go, like concerts, there is an energy that I have never experienced anywhere else. And it's just very special. And even the political and social implications of it, like there was a time where go-go music in DC was unfairly associated with crime, and so it was essentially illegal. You couldn't do that, right? And so imagine the sound of your city that was a distinctive music type being literally outlawed. You can't meet up and experience this kind of music in your city. So it's hard. It's like hard fought and hard won, and it's just so special and so beautiful. But this is what I love about DC. Like it's just a unique, special thing that is often overlooked. But weirdly, I almost feel like it being overlooked kind of makes it more special to me. Like people who are from here really care about being from DC, right? Like we really rep our city very hard. I think because it is so often overlooked.
Yes, you nailed something that you're right. That is singular about DC, which is like we all know the Southern sound. Like we know it because we know it's from the South, but it's everywhere. We all know G-Funk West Coast. We all know East Coast. For some reason, I only in DC, something that has somehow, and I don't know, usually you say that as negative, like, oh, this sounds regional, like it's never left. And I'm like, usually that's a negative thing. But I'm like, for DC, for some reason, it's y'all's power. Like, that's the secret sauce that I'm like, you have to, you can, and I honestly think this is honestly in my heart of hearts of anything else, specifically, it's because you have to go to it. You have to see it. It truly only works in context. Like, I can't think of, as a hip hop artist, as somebody who's been around the world, like, and does music, I'm like, specifically, it's so great to be, if you get to go see like somebody, you know, in Houston, you know, with 10 spokes poking out, of course that adds to the experience. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody actually tipping on fofos, you know what I'm saying? You come out in the West Coast, you hear that G-funk, you hear that, you know what I'm saying? You feel the air, you feel the temperature, you can smell the weed. Like, there is something very specific about being in Cali that heightens the experience.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still understand it from the outside. I feel like DC, it does not translate. Like, you have to see it.
1,000%. You won't get it until you experience it.
You won't get it until you experience it. And I am saying that from absolute 1,000,000,000% experience, because I was confused. I was like, what are y'all talking about? And they couldn't explain it. Like, you're like, no, you like, they was trying to tell me, like, you don't like this? And I'm like, this is recorded no. Like,
yes, it's always recorded in a way, like, it doesn't translate. It doesn't translate.
Yeah. And then, like, I'm saying that even as a metaphor, because like that Chesapeake Bay blue crab going, you know, putting $5 together with the homies to buy yourself a dozen or a bushel, like, it just, you can only do it there. Like, it don't work in Cali. We used to, like, listen, we used to have, my Uncle Jeff used to freeze dry a box and mail it to us so that we could have it at home. And it just don't work. You know what I'm saying? There's little, I don't know if they still sell half smokes. They look like little hot.
Oh God, yeah. That's our, if I had to say there was a food item that is maybe the DC food item, it would be the half smoke.
It's a half smoke. They not here. And I used to try to explain that. I'm like, and my dad's from Texas. He's like, a hot link? And I'm like, no, it's not a hot link. Like, it's not a hot dog. It's a half smoke. I just tongue tied. Like, I could not. But now we would definitely get those shipped, you know, because you could freeze those and send them.
Yeah.
So like,
I do love a hot link.
I do love a hot link. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, these very specific experiences. Like, you have to see it. The last one I think of is like, because there's such an age gap between, you know, all of like my relatives. It's very rare. And, you know, some dudes were in jail, some were just, you know what I'm saying? It was very rare that we could all be together. But when we were, Uncle Jeff, Aunt Dorothy, Aunt Stephanie, they ordered a bunch of crabs for all of their nieces and nephews, whatever, right? So we were all sitting at my Helen's house, and, you know, you grab your crab, flip it over. And, you know, my Aunt Dot's kind of teaching me how to, like, you know, break it open, get the meat out, right? And I'm sitting there, and I remember two of my oldest cousins, Aaron and Kurt, they sat on two sides of me. They was like, oh, we're going to sit by Jason. You know, so they sat right next to me. I'm working on my crab, and they not grabbing their own. So then he go, you done with that one? I was like, yeah. He goes, okay. He just takes it and just gets way more meat out the thing. He was like, you done with that one? I was like, yeah. He just takes it. And I'm just watching him. I was like, man, you couldn't have showed me that, like, I wasn't doing this right. He was like, nah, you know, you gonna learn now. Look, you see all this? You see all that? You could have left all that in there. And he just eating it. And I'm like, dog, like, you couldn't, you know what I'm saying? And it's just no other place. That's not happening any other place.
Oh man, you just brought me back. This is my mom passed away pretty recently, and a memory that I have of her is that, you know, my poor mother, we would do crabs, and she was the best one of getting every single piece of meat out of the crab. So this poor woman never just got to sit and eat her own crabs. She was always expected to hand me and my brother little piles of meat. So everybody will be eating, having a good time, and she's just working, being like, here, here,
poor
getting
thing.
none for herself. Oh my gosh. I remember, I mean, that was something we grew up doing, putting newspaper down on the table and just having crabs. I remember being real little and accidentally making the worst error you can make, rubbing my eye when I had Old Bay on my fingers.
No!
I will never make that mistake again, I'll tell you that much.
Never again. Oh, Lord. All right, I don't know where Matt ended this, but hopefully at like around the half-hour mark, that is the end of part 1. And next week you will hear part 2. I think I have a Cyber Monday sale going on the website still. prophiphop.com. Go buy some merch. I know it's been saying sold out forever. It's not sold out apparently. Nobody just updated. Anyway, hood politics. All right, now don't you hit stop on this pod. You better listen to these credits. I need you to finish this thing so I can get the download numbers, okay? So don't stop it yet. But listen, this was recorded in East Los Boyle Heights by your boy Propaganda. Tap in with me at prophiphop.com. If you're into cold brew coffee, we got Terraform Cold Brew. You can go there.com and use promo code HOOD, get 20% off, get yourself some coffee. This was mixed, edited, and mastered by your boy Matt Osowski, killing the beat softly. Check out his website, mattossowski.com. I'm going to spell it for you because I know. MATTOSOWSKI.com, mattossowski.com. He got more music and stuff like that on there, so go and check out the heat. Hood Politics is a member of Cool Zone Media, executive produced by Sophie Lichterman, part of the iHeartMedia Podcast Network. Your theme music and scoring is also by the one and only Matt Osowski, still killing the beat softly. So listen, don't let nobody lie to you. If you understand urban living, you understand politics. These people is not smarter than you. We'll see y'all next week.